Sonic fans, I've been waiting for this moment, and talking spoilers for Sonic Movie 2 is the perfect opportunity to open this. You guys know the disappointment that was last time the first Sonic movie came out. They had a partnership with Puma, and not only did they ruin the Sonic shoes with the first design, when they officially revealed their Sonic Movie 2 shoes wasn't really what I was expecting. But now, thanks to Fila, we got the Sonic Movie 2 shoes officially made. Getting this opened up, these bad boys are officially here. The official Sonic the Hedgehog 2 shoe that actually looks like Sonic's shoe. There's only one thing left to do with these.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind...
But now that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has officially released in theaters for people, what I'm going to do here for you guys is giving you my spoiler review for Sonic Movie 2. I'll be dividing this video up talking about some of the best Easter eggs from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, then going into my spoiler review just telling you my favorite moments, stuff that I didn't think worked all the way, what hyped me up the most, and then of course that end credit slash post credit scene that like... Sonic the Hedgehog 3, you need to get here now. But I also need your guys' opinions down below. What did you think of Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Did it live up to your expectations? Were you blown away by some of the moments in this movie? What are your theories for Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Alright, so final spoiler warning. If you're here, movie's about to be ruined for you. Oh my god! They actually did it! But starting things off here with some of the Easter eggs in Sonic Movie 2, just mainly sticking to the ones I really caught and that blew me away. I know there's kind of like hundreds of Easter eggs to find here, so feel free to add on if there was any in here you think I missed. But from the very beginning, when we follow Robotnik back on the Mushroom Planet, we see his classic Robotnik logo from the video games on a rock. I feel like this one is a bit of a stretch, but fans have just been telling me endlessly whenever Robotnik meets Knuckles in the movie and he tells him that he can show him the way, that was the movie's reference of the Ugandan Knuckles meme. I don't know if I believe it, but I'll give it to you since so many of you have been telling me about it. Then when we cut to Sonic and him doing his superhero crime fighting, we see him eating his classic chili dogs, being a vigilante and saving the city, where we get a reference to something that didn't make the final cut in the first Sonic movie, and that was this Scoop Princess ice cream truck, when in the first Sonic film there was supposed to be this Princess Burger place that Sonic went to, and this is just kind of like a made-up brand that's a recurring thing in the Sonic movies. At one point when Sonic is left home alone talking about what movie they should watch, he kind of references his voice actor, Ben Schwartz, when he played his character in Parks and Rec, John Ralphio.
Even though honestly she's the worst.
When we find out what Agent Stone has been up to all this time, he opened up his own coffee shop titled The Mean Bean, a reference to a Sonic video game. When Robotnik shows up and shows us some of his drones, we see more classic looking robots from the Sonic video games like Buzzer Bombers, as well as even Eggman's Egg Pod, which I was really hoping a wrecking ball was going to be coming out of that thing at some point, but it didn't. When it comes to our new furry little creatures introduced into this movie, Knuckles the Echidna and Tails Prowler, their backstories are pretty faithful to what they are from their video game counterparts. Knuckles as the sole Echidna warrior destined to protect the Master Emerald, and Tails Prowler, a very intelligent dude with endless gadgets at his disposal, as well as even Flying Tornado, the plane that showed up in Sonic 2. However, the old Sonic 2 video game isn't the only second Sonic video game that got tons of reference in here, because this film is filled with Sonic Adventure 2 references. Not only is the Gun Corporation brought in here from Sonic Adventure 2, they have the same helicopter with markings that reference Sonic Adventure 2 with SA along with the date it was released. Sonic at one point during a dance battle even does the iconic Sonic pose from the cover of Sonic Adventure 2, but probably the thing we were all expecting, and we're definitely going to talk about more later, but the thing we were all hoping for and expecting was a reference to Shadow, and that is Project Shadow from Sonic Adventure 2. We're going to talk so much more about that later. Throughout the movie, we also got some references to Sonic video game levels, like one, the Ice Cap levels from Sonic 3. That's where they're going ahead and snowboarding. Knuckles punches through a water truck that is named Splash Hill. That is a reference to a Sonic level. And towards the end, where they're in the tombs trying to find the Master Emerald, director Jeff Fowler says that was inspired by the Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1. When Sonic and Knuckles are fighting each other, you can see some of the callbacks to the Sonic X cartoon series. That was really great for them to include, but probably like my favorite random little Easter egg they threw in here was when Sonic is trying to save Knuckles from drowning, he goes ahead and takes an air bubble to keep himself alive, which if anyone has ever played a Sonic video game, you know how traumatizing those water levels are with that anxiety-inducing music and you trying your best to get them air bubbles. I love that they included that. Even though we didn't get the Death Egg, we did get the Death Egg robot, that Robotnik build that looked fantastic. Whenever they go off to find the Master Emerald, it is on this solo island that is most likely Angel Island, where in the video games is where you find the Master Emerald. Whenever the Master Emerald is cracked open, we get to see the Chaos Emeralds, which I'm happy they included. There was rumors that the studio didn't want to include them because they thought general audiences would think they're too similar to Infinity Stones, but nope, glad they stuck to it. And of course, if you have Chaos Emeralds, you get yourself Super Sonic, which did show up in this movie. I'm gonna gush so much about that scene later on in the spoiler talk section. And just for kicks, I'm glad that Olive Garden is now a recurring Easter egg in the Sonic universe, with the general who gave them the Olive Garden gift card at the end of the first Sonic movie, mentioning Olive Garden a couple of times throughout Sonic 2. I'm sure there was a lot more Easter eggs, but those were my favorite ones, or the ones I caught. Let me know if you guys can add on to that. But now just diving into full spoiler moments of this movie, I had so much fun with Sonic 2. I mean, when I say I like this movie way better than the first film, it really feels like they took the franchise in a whole different direction and embraced all the Sonic video game stuff, which me as a fan growing up playing those games, like, it just brought so much joy to me to see all those little references popping up every now and then throughout the film. And yes, even though this one did get a little more cartoony and silly, like there was just so many fart jokes, but also the first time ever in history I actually laughed at a Fortnite floss joke. Whenever Jim Carrey did that in the movie, I actually audibly laughed out loud. I thought that was actually really well done. But yeah, just starting from the beginning of this movie, I love the opening. Just seeing Robotnik on that mushroom planet and everything he has had to build to keep himself entertained and keep going with like trying out different versions of mushroom coffee. I honestly could watch a whole solo series of that. I was also really worried how they were going to handle the whole Robotnik and Knuckles relationship, because we all knew that Knuckles by the end of this movie would turn into a good guy, would work with Sonic and Tails. And in the video games, it's the same way it happens, is Knuckles gets manipulated by Robotnik to believe Sonic is bad, and then they just fight each other. They could have really made Knuckles look like a dumb guy, but I felt they handled it so perfectly, where Robotnik has his own motives and Knuckles has his own motives, and this is just a temporary partnership. Still, Idris Elba was hilarious in this film. I like how they gave him that sort of literal persona where he doesn't understand sarcasm, and all the information he takes in, he just takes it super literal. But moving on to Tails, I mentioned in my spoiler-free review that I thought they did Tails kind of dirty in this movie. And this is also where just being a fan of Sonic will let you forgive a lot of the things in this movie and why some critics are not absolutely loving it, because the explanation for Tails I thought was really weak. So in the movie, they explain that Tails has actually just been a loner all his life. In whatever planet he grew up in, whether that's the exact same planet that Sonic is from, which I gotta assume so since he knows the legend of Sonic the Hedgehog, he just says that he uses his mind and intelligence to build all these gadgets and has just been spying on Sonic the Hedgehog his entire life. So just the same way we were watching the first Sonic movie, Tails was up there watching it with us. They even take it a step further and say Tails would watch Sonic when he showers, or actually when he uses the bathtub. And then that's how he knew to come and warn Sonic, because he had been spying and stalking him and he knew Knuckles was coming after him. And again, I want to reiterate, I love Tails in this movie. His relationship with Sonic is so adorable. Colleen voicing him just elevates the movie, but that was just a horrible explanation and just lazy writing, because they wanted it as a post-credit scene for the first movie, but they didn't know how they would explain him coming into the movie. And I guess since we're rolling on with me nitpicking about stuff I didn't love so much, let's talk about like the two biggest scenes that really probably could have been shortened or removed from the movie. For one, whenever Sonic and Tails go to this ice cabin and then they end up having a dance-off, I was like, what is happening in this movie? Why did we randomly turn into Step Up? There was even a Channing Tatum reference. I don't know if it was just me, but was I the only Sonic fan watching this? Like, why can't Sonic just do the super speed thing he did in the first Sonic movie that was at a bar and he just moved at the speed of light? You could easily just move that fast, Sonic, grab your map, grab Tails, and get out of there. Why did we have to sit through extra runtime of them forcing on this dance battle? It just didn't really feel like it fit into the movie. I understand they did it to have like a little bit of a bonding moment between Sonic and Tails, which, like I said, that is adorable, but I felt like there's maybe a different way you could have done it that didn't feel so weirdly placed into the film. The other part that I'm actually going to be less harsh on, that I think other people will really hate, is the whole wedding situation. Whenever Sonic and Tails finally get to Rachel's wedding, and then the movie takes a whole detour with this subplot that Rachel accidentally was gonna marry a gun agent That was kind of a cool touch, and I did call it in one of my trailer breakdowns. I'm gonna admittedly say that whole subsection was actually pretty hilarious to me. I think Rachel is so funny, and the way she was just so angry going after this man she was going to marry, it made me laugh. I was chuckling. But also, again, it's just a huge departure and such a far left turn from the main story that was already very entertaining and super thrilling. I know a lot of us Sonic fans complain that they need to get rid of the human characters. Just make the CGI characters the main characters and get rid of all the human characters. I don't necessarily feel that way because I've grown to really like James Marsden's character as Donut Lord. I thought his little subplot in this movie was so heartwarming. The fact that he kind of wants to be the father of Sonic, not just his friend, his father. He worries about Sonic and wants him to have his own friend group and not just be isolated at home, hidden from people like the government. So there were moments where I was kind of getting a little emotional with him calling him son and sticking by his side. All of that really great stuff that I wouldn't want erased from the movie. I just feel like these other adult hijinks need to be minimized because it feels like this isn't what your franchise is anymore. You've committed now. These CGI characters are the main characters. Let's stick with them. But again, those are just small nitpicks that I could just kind of brush over aside because the rest of the film is just so endlessly entertaining and visually amazing. Like, who didn't get chills when Knuckles and Sonic were fighting, and the music they added onto that when Sonic is like rolling up into a ball and just smashing Knuckles up and down? I was like, yes! Or then towards the ending battle where they have to figure out a way to beat the Death Egg robot and they're just doing all these moves that I remember from like Sonic Heroes. I was just having such a good time. I even liked myself Master Emerald Eggman. Boy was super powered and crazy and eating up every second of it. I know there's talks that Jim Carrey's saying he's retiring, but I don't believe it for the Sonic franchise. I think we're gonna get like 2 more installments of Jim Carrey, and I have my theories how. But before we move on talking about the post-credit and end-credit scene, we gotta talk about Super Sonic. Like, we all kind of saw it coming, right? As soon as they let us know that the Chaos Emeralds make up the Master Emerald, I just knew somewhere in this movie that Master Emerald would break, and then we would get those Chaos Emeralds in Sonic. And even when it happened, I was still shocked. I was surprised. I was getting goosebumps. They handled that so perfectly with making Sonic kind of serious in that moment, fighting off the Robotnik robot, just being so overpowered. That's exactly what you want from Super Sonic, and I'm so curious what the potential now that is for the future. Because by the end of this movie, they still have the Master Emerald. They're carrying it around in that ice chest, and so at any moment, Sonic can just turn into Super Sonic. So in the next movie, you know, will they touch upon more about the more Sonic turns into Super Sonic, he becomes this serious, less friendly being? That's something that Knuckles was teasing when he's like, oh, don't touch him. I, for a second, thought that like the emeralds would then scatter across the universe, and then that would be the setup for Sonic 3, is them having to go find all the emeralds in different planets. I just can't believe they pulled it off, and I'm so excited for what else they're trying to do now that they're leaning more into the Sonic lore. Alright, but now moving on to that post-credit / end credit scene for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So when the credits roll, we open up again with the aftermath that Eggman left behind with his Death Egg robot, where they say it seems like Eggman is dead because no one could have survived that. Agent Stone is there in disguise as a gun agent, most likely either getting Eggman out of there or looking for Eggman. But quickly, a couple of agents come up to the general, letting him know that as they were wiping a bunch of files from their database, they came across a 50-year-old file titled Project Shadow, where the movie then cuts us to some sort of ice chamber where we see Shadow the Hedgehog frozen, but now being resurrected 50 years later to be the main villain for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Another stand-up, clap-cheering worthy moment. The people in my theater were going nuts. And I, of course, am going crazy. Like, one, not only does Shadow the Hedgehog look fantastic, but again, they are just sticking so faithful to the video games and the lore that I'm like, ah, this is so exciting. So again, jumping off from Sonic Adventure 2, we find out that 50 years ago, so they still made it 50 years, Robotnik's great-grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, went ahead and genetically engineered Shadow as part of a project titled Project Shadow that was meant to cure his granddaughter that was sick of an illness. However, when the government found out about it, they shut it down and had Shadow cryogenically frozen. Then all those years later, Robotnik finds out about it, resurrects Shadow, and then has him fight against Sonic. And it looks like the movie's going to be following that exact same storyline, is that Shadow the Hedgehog was a genetically engineered being, most likely by Jim Carrey's Robotnik's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, and it's just so nice to see them being that faithful to the background of Shadow and putting him in here. Now, as far as what could happen, look, they already did the Knuckles storyline where it's a guy who was bad in the beginning and then turns good by the end. Shadow the Hedgehog has had a complicated relationship with Sonic in the video games. He has been his friend, but he's also been his foe. I think it would be really repetitive if they did the exact same thing with Shadow the Hedgehog, where they make him again an enemy at the beginning of the movie, then some greater threat like maybe Metal Sonic comes out, then he has to team up with Sonic and his friends to fight him. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep Shadow the Hedgehog entirely an antagonist for the whole Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. I'm also wondering exactly what little elements will they change for the film, because even though they're being faithful to the origin and background of Shadow, the movies have already proven that they'll do something different. And so since in the video game Shadow was genetically engineered and created by humans, does that mean Sonic's race and those planets were also made by humans? Or was Shadow just like an alien that came down to Earth a long time ago? I'm curious about that element of the movie. I have one more theory for Shadow the Hedgehog, but I'm gonna make that a separate video that I'm gonna post later this weekend because this video is already long enough. So this is where I throw it off to you guys. I want to know all your spoiler review and thoughts for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. What were your favorite moments you didn't think worked all that much, and your theories and speculation for that end credit, post credit scene. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.